it's great to meet you.
Thanks, Jordy.
Thank you for the time. Yes, sir.
Sharp a little late, boys, at the spring game, obviously, as you can see. A couple of booze cruises here to do. Let's do it. Cruise. Grand salami to the boys. Finally back on track. And I got another one coming. Don't you think I don't? And that's how we roll in Tiger Stadium.
Just watching the spring games that were on television, one thing that jumped out about your squad is your quarterback room is very talented compared to a lot of the league and a lot of the country. I wonder, is it easier to recruit that position when you have talent or when you don't have talent? Coach Kelly, we're official.
Finally,
I'm
get a
telling
chance to meet you. Thought I had to get a private audience with the Pope. There's Jordy.
Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time.
Tearing up, answering the question, I thought, my God, if she gets offered this job, she's going to take it.
It's just a crazy, fun time at LSU right now. Isn't this what everybody loves?
From the boot to the east to the west coast, no matter where we at, we live. Open up the phone lines, come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends about Jordy Culotta Show. Yeah.
Let's go! Let's go!
All right.
Nice start. Big day.
Nice start.
It's the Jordy Culotta Show. Come have a good time.
Coach, it's great to meet you.
Thanks, Jordy.
Thank you for the time. There they are. Welcome into a Monday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, live here on this Monday from our campus of Click Here Digital, online at clickheredigital.com. Remember, we are here every single day, 7 to 9 a.m. Open on this Monday. We got a lot to talk about, tons to talk about in the SEC, including LSU taking care of business over Texas A&M. Texas A&M finding a new coach. Mississippi State finding a new coach. LSU women's basketball back in Baton Rouge this week. They'll be taking on Virginia Tech. LSU football off now until the bowl, which they'll find out on Sunday. Will Jayden Daniels play? Will he not play? Did he do enough to win the Heisman Trophy? We'll talk all about that here on this Monday morning. Good Monday morning to you. As always, we appreciate you starting your Monday here with us. Give us a like, share, follow, if you don't mind. As we're looking forward to interacting with you here on this Monday. We'll take your phone calls just like we always do, and we will obviously react to the college football weekend. Lloyd is here. Stewie is here live on this Monday morning. As we come to you, we will, as we said, take your phone calls. We back on your number,
Yes,
Stewie?
yes.
Yes, we will be back on the original number, so we'll have that for you coming up here in the second hour. As we open up the phone lines. Happy belated Thanksgiving to everyone. It's the first time we've spoke since last Wednesday.
Felt weird.
It has been a nice time off. Hopefully everybody enjoyed their time off. I was at the beach after Thursday. I actually watched the game at the Floribama. Watched the Iron Bowl.
Oh, that's the one that I was going to say. It had to be more Iron Bowl than
amongst Gumps and just miserable Auburn fans.
How did you let that happen?
Miserable. I mean, like the lady next to me on the fourth down was like, I ain't celebrating just yet. I've seen it too many times.
Nick
Saban
in the
just give it
Tide.
away here. And I mean, Milrose just dancing around.
The more he was doing
Yeah, I
that, the
was like,
more nervous you had to get.
God. And then he lets go a seed. I mean,
Yeah, best throw of the year.
This is the best throw he threw all day.
Dot.
I mean, wham, touchdown. I mean, dude, the reaction of the floor of Bama was so funny.
We have to find some of
I
it.
mean, it was so funny.
It's all over social media, but all the Auburn fans filming themselves on the last play,
it's
like ready to
unreal.
storm the field. They're like, well, I'm going to kill myself.
the guy, the band, the lead singer of the band was a Bama fan. I mean, it was mayhem. It was fun, man.
That's awesome.
It was great. It was a great weekend. Hopefully, everybody had a good Thanksgiving. It was good to get away. It was good to watch a ton of college football on Saturday, and college football. I say Saturday. It started on Thursday, went through Friday, Saturday, and then on Sunday, the news of Texas A&M and what was happening there was
Fake news.
Was crazy. So it was just kind of the gift that kept on giving this weekend. The Saints are terrible. We're not even going to talk about the Saints. They are so horrible, just painful to watch.
Nasty.
Like, I mean, it is just bad. So
Harkens me back to old LSU days where you're just like, figure it out.
Yeah.
You have too many good players.
But we can't.
Yeah, then you're just like,
And we won't change.
not changing a thing.
Yeah.
And then you have players live tweeting the game that you wish were playing.
it's broken.
Oh, it's
I mean, like it's broken. It is broke.
It's like a reality TV show.
All right, so let's go back to Saturday. Everybody was eyeing Jayden Daniels, and was he going to be able to do enough to keep his name relevant in this Heisman race in which Bo Nix and now Michael Penix, after a great win by Washington. I say a great win. It was a great game, another great game of this college football weekend.
Man couldn't watch. He didn't see it.
What's that?
Penix had his head
he
where
couldn't watch.
in the equipment staff.
But they get a win in the buzzer on the Apple Bowl, and they now will be taking on Oregon in the Pac-12 championship. So both Penix and Nick's going to be on the field this Saturday. Jayden Daniels will not. So everybody was looking at Daniels and wondering and wanting him to do enough. And was he going to be able to do enough to keep his name relevant for the next couple of weeks, to keep him at the top of the Heisman list? I will say this. I started the day watching college football game day, and I thought when Kirk Herbstreit was giving his pick for the LSU Texas A&M game, he said twice definitively that Jayden Daniels was going to win the Heisman. In fact, the first time he said it, the whole set called him out. Like Reese Davis called him out, Desmond Howard called him out, Lee Corso called him out, Aiden Hutchinson was the guest picker. They all were kind of like, whoa, hey. He was like, oh, no, Jayden Daniels is the Heisman Trophy winner. There's no doubt about it. And he was talking in very definitive terms. That's a strong voice. I mean, when he speaks, college football listens. And for a guy like Herbstreit to be saying that definitively, that Daniels is the guy, I thought was a very nice start to the day for Daniels. And then the game kicks off, right? And for Texas A&M State, I will say this, for as much adversity and as much turmoil as they've been through this year, Elijah Robinson had A&M ready to play on Saturday, and their game plan was as about a perfect of a game plan to run against the number one offense in the country that you could construct. Shout out to Petrino. Shout out to the A&M staff. I know they're easy to make fun of. They were ready to play 17 play drives, 15 play drives, fourth down. They were putting pressure on LSU all day, and they were keeping the ball out of the hands of Daniels and putting a lot of pressure on him. So when he had it, they had to produce, and that's a good defense. That's the best defense, especially the front seven that LSU has gone against all season long. I mean, look at the rushing numbers. They couldn't run the ball for anything on Saturday. The only guy that could rush, obviously, was Jayden Daniels. I'm talking about running the ball between the tackles with the running backs. They just it was not there because of A&M's front seven. I mean, as talented of a group as LSU's played all season long, which is why I believe that the 120 on the ground that Jayden Daniels produced and the 4 touchdowns is as impressive of a game as he's played all season long. He may not have the gaudy numbers of, 600 yards of total offense and 3 rushing touchdowns and 4 throwing touchdowns, but to get the production that he got on Saturday against that defense is a win for Jayden Daniels in both on the field, because I believe that's the last time we're going to see him. I don't expect him to play in the bowl game. I've got no information. Nobody's told me anything. I'm just kind of judging about where he is in the process, what the body of work that he's put down, what can he really gain in playing in a bowl. That does not mean ultimately that much, right? I mean, it makes sense for Malik Neighbors to play in the bowl game. He's 20 yards shy of becoming the all-time leading receiver in LSU football history. That means a ton. Makes sense for him to go out there in the first 2 series, get that 20 yards, and then hang it up because he's a first-round pick.
That's what I said.
I
would not be mad at Malik Neighbors.
No, and that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. Throw him 2 wide receiver screens, let him get 23 yards, give him a standing ovation on the sidelines, and grab his helmet. I mean, because that's what needs to happen. He's a first-round pick. He's done enough. He's hopefully going to win the Bolitnikoff.
I mean,
he should. I mean, if it goes by numbers, I mean, he's lapped everybody.
I was telling somebody the other day, somebody must have showed him that Marvin Harrison had just scored, because right after Marvin Harrison scored against Michigan, it's like clockwork.
The Malik Neighbors
They throw
show.
it straight to him and he goes 80, and it's like, damn, he must have heard something.
Well, it feels Malik's already broken the record. It was just untimely penalty from Kyron Lacey. And you can see from
what a terrible call.
I mean, the visceral reaction from Kyron Lacey and Malik Neighbors in the end zone. Like, he knew that was the record. He was like, he went down on his hands and knees. He's like, you got to be kidding.
He was thinking, now I got to play in the bowl.
Yeah. But, I mean, like, I got to come back and do this again.
Man, I got to hang out for another
one more
month.
time. Yeah, go to practice. But that's what I think. Jayden Daniels will probably be lockstep with them. They'll probably play the first quarter or the first couple of drives. Just so
I'm
they do
advising Daniels. If I'm on Daniels' team, I'm telling him to watch it in street clothes.
Yeah, I'm saying, but I think they want to do it together. It's just like we rode on this horse. We rode into town together. Let's leave town together.
Did you hear what he said in his post-game presser, though?
But Jayden,
like the last game,
yeah,
like he's probably already there. I mean, I think he knows. Like they told him, if you come out and shine again, which you expected him to do. I mean, I've seen mock drafts of him as high as 6. His name is flying up the draft charts, and I believe that he is going to be a high first-round pick when it's all said and done. And I don't know what a bowl game is going to do for him. So. Another just dominant performance. I thought the play of the game was the 4th and 4.
Yep.
That he scrambled and was
Got
able to
50.
pick up about 50. I thought he was going to score.
Mm-hmm.
He was shoved out at about the 4-yard line. 2 plays later, Logan Diggs gets into the end zone. I thought both the handoffs were very unselfish plays by Daniels. He ends this season with 50 touchdowns. Some of the company that he's keeping there is very sacred in college football, obviously very sacred within LSU. When you're talking about Joe Burrow, it's somebody that we thought just here 5 years ago that you never see again, right? I mean, I can remember telling little Jay, take a mental picture, buddy. This is not going to happen, probably until you're well into adulthood again. And here he is, hadn't even finished grade school, and you got somebody coming along.
You told him that twice.
I mean, that's as good, as dominant.
Don't get used to this, son.
As just efficient. I mean, that is what you're going to miss so much with Jayden Daniels, right? Is just the efficiency in which he plays football. I mean, the way that he's able to do everything. I mean, he leaves to me as one of, if not the most complete quarterback LSU has ever had, right? Somebody that can do everything. Run, pass, beat you in different ways, smart. I mean, a guy that just checks every box from a scouting statistic, especially in the edition of 2023's football at every level, right? I mean, the NFL values what Daniels does now at a very, at a premium. At one point within the last 5 years, they did not. I think Daniels has made himself a ton of money. He's brought extreme exposure to LSU. I think LSU is going to get the number 1 quarterback in Bryce Underwood and the number 1 recruit in the country because of what Daniels has done. I mean, it's paying off for LSU as far as being able to sell the program and commit to the future of players that can keep the standard up. Jayden Daniels, you just can't say anything more about him. I think, and I hope he wins the Heisman Trophy. I think he's done well enough and without a doubt put down enough work and statistics to be the guy. I mean, he is and feels like the best player in college football after watching nearly everybody play this weekend. There's a lot of really good players. I mean, college football is a it's a thriving product, but the best player in the sport is Jayden Daniels, and he is the player that from start to finish has been the most valuable player on his team and has carried his team all season long, because defensively there's nothing that he can substitute for how bad that unit has been all season long. And they played pretty good on Saturday, right? I mean, they got some timely stops. They were able to get a takeaway with Greg Penn and the interception, and they were still doing some things that you look at and you're just like, how? How does Harold Perkins come off the field on third down? Especially after you take him off of the first 2 third downs of the game and A&M capitalizes. Then you watch the 3rd, 4th, and 5th third down, and they continue to capitalize, and you never think, hell, we should probably, if you're LSU, put the best player back out there. And then, for whatever reason, they decide to do that, and A&M never converts another third down the rest of the day. Just things like that where you're like, man. And as we sit here on this Monday morning, and we've already started to see some shakeup within college football. We talked about it. Mark Stoops accepted and then was told on the tarmac in College Station, sorry, man, the board of directors are not going to allow this to happen. The mob has come out against you on Texags, and nobody likes you here, and we're going to have to send you back to Lexington. We apologize for this. And now Ross Bjork is back on the coaching trail and ends up hiring Mike Elko. Just a crazy 24, 48-hour stretch for people over in College Station and A&M. I think they hired a really good guy in Elko, and he's going to do probably some pretty good things, a lot of good things at A&M now with those types of resources. And then Jeff Lebby was hired at Mississippi State, which I think is a home run hire in Starkville. He is offensive coordinator right now with Oklahoma, and has been a guy that has been alongside people like the Bryles, Lane Kiffin, and now working with Oklahoma. I mean, he's a very seasoned, very respected guy. Look, he's going to be, if nothing else, he is going to have an offense that you are going to have to prepare for when you take on Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State knocked it out of the park in hiring Lebby. I figured, and we talked a little bit about it last week, I figured LSU would already have been in the news cycle because of what's on the horizon, right? I mean, the transfer portal opens a week from today. Recruiting early signing period is in less than a month. I mean, things are about to really shift into high gear as far as what future of rosters look like. What are you selling? Who's your coach? What's the future look like? And I figured by now LSU would have been in the news cycle of cleaning house, no pun intended, of trying to find a new defensive staff. As we sit here on this Monday morning at 20 minutes past the hour of 7 o'clock on November 27th, from the people that I have spoke to, and I have not, this is not confirmed, this is just people that are speculating, that are connected. I don't think they're getting rid of Matt House. I think Matt House is going to be back next season. Now, I don't know what the rest of the defensive staff is going to look like and if they'll be back. And if I had to say so at this point, I would say that I would believe they would not be. But if you're asking me, and our poll question is up right now, will LSU part ways with their defensive coordinator? if I was voting on that poll right now, I would vote no by the people that I have spoke with. And then if there was another poll question on the rest of the defensive staff, would they be back? I would vote no there as well. So I would be prepared if you are an LSU fan of Matt House coming back next season. At this point, I believe that. Like I said, nothing's confirmed. There's nothing that I would say, hey, look, this is reporting. This is sources. I spoke to people that are connected to LSU football and, have good resources, and that's just how they feel. And I just heads up.
If you're firmly entrenched in the camp that Matt House is already gone, just be prepared for the fact that he might be back. So don't bury the hatchet on that just yet, and just kind of start changing your thinking a little bit about what LSU will look next year. Because we were talking about this a little bit off the show, and if there are wholesale changes defensively, and if some of them have already been made or already in place, it makes sense the way that if you're looking at it from that perspective. If they're already have decided to move away from the staff, you have to have either made the decision to fire your defensive coordinator and then allow him to have input on who he wants on the staff, whether it be a new, secondaries coach, a new D-line coach, all of those things that come in junction with coaching the defensive side of the football. If LSU has already made moves in that regard of who they may have targeted on, whether it be a defensive back coach, defensive line coach, things of that nature, and if they already have, like, hypothetically a deal in place, you don't bring in a new defensive coordinator and say, hey, here's your staff, because it never works that way. You have to have a defensive coordinator that wants to bring in people that he either A, trusts, B, has worked with, or C, at least has an idea of what they do defensively together, right? It can't be, we're forcing this change upon you. That's how bad organizations are run. So if you're looking at it from in totality, and if LSU has decided to move away from everything but the defensive coordinator, that is how you could see a world where Matt House comes back and LSU just replaces all the pieces around him, in my mind.
We'll see. I'm just telling you what
But
I'm
that's the
hearing.
logic there, right?
I think that without question, you rarely see that type of instance work where you're saying, hey, look, all of you work together.
Right.
Right. I mean, it's usually where you have to have
Ed Orgeron, here's Matt Canada.
Bring your people along. So
who's available?
We will see. I saw that Baylor has doubled down on Dave Aranda.
Right.
But now there seems to be a opening at Houston with Dana Holgorsen possibly on the way out, and Jeff Traylor's name at the University of Texas San Antonio has come up. And if you're Baylor, do you move on Aranda to maybe try and capitalize on Traylor, or do you allow Houston? Because I can tell you that Houston
wants to be in the game.
Well, and they're going into the Big 12, and they are a sleeping giant as far as what people perceive that job to be. I mean, there has always been, if you look at the last couple of years of expansion, there has always been a blockade of coaches that have said, don't let Houston in the Big 12. And like really the loudest voice was like Texas and like Oklahoma and Texas Tech, because they were like, man, I mean, like if you let Houston in, you don't even have to leave the greater metro area to build your roster. I mean, think about LSU's roster. I mean, Harold Perkins is from Houston. Think about the guys that have come out of Houston. Everybody from Joseph Adai to Brandon LaFell to, look, Houston has been very good to LSU, right? And, there could be some shakeup. So, I don't know. If you're asking me this morning if Matt House is going to be back, I would say yes. If you ask me if the rest of the staff would be back, I would say no.
So there will be changes. It's not like LSU's running it back with the exact same defense that you saw, or defensive staff that you saw this year. That would probably raise more than cause for concern if you're an LSU fan. But I'm also in the camp of kind of tired of the entire narrative of one year, and I know it's historically bad, but fire him. Like, you can't really listen to everybody that has their pitchforks out every single time, especially with the fan base that's as loud as LSU's, that always wants change immediately. Fire him, fire this, do that. Can't lose him. We got to keep him. Like, the scenarios of the Chicken Little syndrome of how quickly one thing you have to do or one thing you have to keep. Like, the machine keeps rolling. It's not one thing in particular that's going to save it. But I think if you have, look, you could rewind 1 year, and like I said, it's the same thing. Every LSU fans live on the extreme. It was you can't let Matt House go. I mean, he's up for the Royals Award. He's going to do this. He's going to take this job. You have to extend him. You have to give him more money. You have to give him the co-head coach title. And now it's fire him, get rid of him, pay the buyout. We don't care. So you have to live somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, and when last year was fired Mike Denbrock.
Right.
And now Mike Denbrock's leading the best
for the
offense
Royals
in the
Award.
country. So it's like, we got to retain Mike Denbrock now.
It's okay to let some parts of the staff get some continuity underneath the head coach. And these are people that were handpicked by your head coach.
Whatever the moves are, the moves have to be made in the next 48 hours at least, because of you have to have something to sell over the next couple of weeks, right? I mean, you have big-time commitments coming up in high school football. Keelan Moses, one of the top defenders in the state, one of the top defenders in the country, one of the most sought-after recruits in the Southeastern Conference, is making his announcement on November 30th. That's 3 days away. Now, I don't think that Keelan Moses' announcement hinges on who's going to be the defensive coordinator at LSU and who's going to be the linebackers coach and who's going to be calling the shots on that side of the ball. But you best believe that Texas A&M, Florida, Tennessee, teams that are in his finalist are chirping to him about that. And whether or not that could sway somebody this late in the process, I don't know. I'm not connected to it enough to know. But you have to imagine that it leaves whoever is open at jobs, and LSU may not be the only school. There are schools out there that, but you see the premium. You see where Texas A&M's acting. You see where Mississippi State's acting. You see how University of Houston. I saw Indiana fire Tom Allen. Oh, I mean, like Indiana, like get real. What do you think you're gonna do? I mean, they got to pay a $30 million buyout to this guy. I mean, like when's the last time you were relevant? I didn't even know you had a football program
get
until
some perspective.
Tom Allen.
Wait, where is this?
Indiana. I mean, like
Indiana shouldn't be firing anybody. They should be.
But what league are you trying to step up into? You're right where you're supposed to be. Like, there's the haves and the have-nots in Indiana. If you want to spend $30 million to fire your head coach, cool.
Go ahead.
But that's probably a big source of what you got coming in.
Indiana has a kid from Louisiana as their punt and kick returner.
Louisiana kids everywhere.
And he is a freak.
I mean, look how Bama uses Kendrick Law.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, like, they use him like Reggie Bush.
I guess that's why you want to keep Aaron Anderson, huh?
Yeah. I'd like to have two of these.
They have him everywhere. I mean, Edger and Cooper on Saturday for A&M.
Jacoby Matthews
for LSU. I mean, they were everywhere, man. I mean, I was looking at somewhere else. Somewhere else they were making plays. I mean, it was just I mean, Coy Moore.
I don't
know if those are the plays that you want to be making.
I know.
That was tough. I looked up when I heard the name, and I was like, oh no. Hate that for the kid.
I mean,
that was the game.
Yeah, it was a game.
You could have salted that thing away. And then how many times have you been there watching LSU where one thing like that happens against Alabama and you go,
yep,
here comes the machine.
Man, it was
4th and goal from their 30.
I mean, they snap it over his head.
Yeah.
And you're like, that was the first time in the game that I thought that they were going to get beat.
Yeah.
Like, I still
After
thought,
I saw that,
I was with Kelly, I was like, watch, this is epic Bama stuff right here. This is how they get. And then they snap it over your head. You're like, oh, well, maybe.
Doesn't he take a sack the next play?
He gets crushed.
Yeah, he takes a sack.
He lays a lick on somebody.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It was like 4th and 1.
Yeah, that was the 3rd down. He scrambles, and then
they snap it over
They
his
both
head.
made a decision of,
like, I'm stopping you, and I'm running you over.
And it was a collision. They both got up and were like,
shit.
I had to. That was just got to have it play.
Gotta have it.
Good on good.
And I just don't understand how they let him get behind them to make that throw.
Unbelievable.
You had to bring pressure at some point.
He was open.
Yeah.
Like he was open. That's what I'm saying.
That is crazy. Like, I mean, how does that happen? I
Well,
mean, they dropped 8 people. I mean, they rushed 2 and kept a spy, so they dropped 8, and they had a dude open in the corner.
And
like,
and both of the corner dudes were open. Like they had 2 on each man in the middle, and then on the corners they were 1-on-1. So you just had to pick one.
I mean, but I get it. If you're Auburn, you're saying make Jalen Milroe beat me with his arm.
I agree. I mean, like,
and
you don't
just pulls
hate
the
call.
rabbit out of a
I
hat.
hate the call. I mean, it's almost like it's 4th and 30 though, and he doesn't. And this is hindsight. And
Yes.
I mean, I've just heard people say this, and it kind of does make sense. He's not going to run for 30 yards. You know, like put the pressure on him, make him panic, make him throw one of these wild throws, and I mean, just kind of live and die with it. But I mean, you know, it's easy to go back and say what it coulda, shoulda.
He looks so weird throwing the football though.
He does.
Yeah,
Like,
but then he was barking on the sideline saying, "Give me the Heisman."
Like,
okay,
bro, you scored 24 points. Like you gotta.
you scored 17.
heat of the moment. I get it.
Yeah.
I gotta respect it.
I get it. Yeah, I mean, I respect it. I mean, I think they're going to dub that game the Milroe Miracle.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, if it hasn't been already, there you go.
I mean, but I heard that. I mean, that should stick. I mean, like he will have on the 10-year anniversary of the kick 6.
Mm-hmm.
The Iron Bowl delivered. I mean, it was Saturday was fantastic.
Oh, great!
I mean, all of Saturday was great. Michigan-Ohio State game was great. Mm-hmm. I mean, I love that Ohio State people are melting on Ryan Day. What's he? He's lost 5 games.
I thought he was going to
3 of them
A&M.
Michigan.
Yeah, he lost 5
That's
games.
the belt.
They went 11-1.
3 of them to Michigan, and now he's gotten out coached by an assistant, which is not a good look.
Because
Because they did get out coached Saturday.
They did.
I mean, that was a good game.
Kyle McCord was seeing ghosts.
Yeah, he was.
Didn't he get mollywopped one play?
Yeah,
I didn't see it. I was watching the
When
LSU game.
he threw the interception, he got whopped.
But that saves Michigan, because you could almost say if they lose a game, you could kind of oust them even after.
Without the coaches.
That's what I'm saying. You can start piling on and build the narrative, because the same thing's happening to Florida State right now in an ugly win against Florida, but they're still undefeated ACC if they win the ACC.
They're trying like hell.
That thing was.
That's just going to be a weird conversation that you have to have.
And what about Florida? Like, where does Florida go from here? Because what is that? Back-to-back 5 and 7 seasons?
I don't.
Keep building that recruiting
The
staff.
recruiting is good though. I think
They
got like
lost some recruit. They
They
some-
lost 3
they
after
did.
the LSU game. They lost
Yeah.
3 in a row, 3 days straight.
That's tough.
But
So I don't know, man. I mean, I don't
So
have,
that's
a,
what
good, I
I'm
don't
saying.
have a
That's-
good feeling about Florida.
that's
Me neither.
That's the culture that if you, like I said, it's the same thing that LSU would put themselves in if you keep hiring and firing coaches. It's like Florida's like, oh, you're going to fire Billy Napier? You just gave him, what, a 6-year
Right.
deal? Like, let him, at some point you have to who do you think is better? Who else is out there? Like, you see A&M literally make a hire that the fan base rioted on that says he's not good enough. And it's like, what's the difference between him and Mike Elko?
Yeah.
Like, in terms of name and splash-wise. And it's like, well, you can't riot again. There's nobody out there. Who are you going to go get? Like, you're not going to get the head coach of the Detroit Lions just because he played football at Texas A&M. It's not how it works.
He played here.
Yeah.
We need him.
If they were 2-14 or 2-15 the back-to-back years, then maybe you could go get him, but then you wouldn't want him.
Yeah.
And you're like, go get Coach Prime. It's like, okay, you wouldn't want him either yet. What has he done? It's like they just wanted a splash so badly that no name that either. I feel like they're probably still not. They've settled on Elko's fine.
No,
He was
yeah.
a DC here.
Dukes would have been fine.
I'm sure. No, there's probably a loud minority that can't stand.
What the hell?
Yeah, right. Can't stand.
We're
Elko.
Texas A&M.
Exactly.
Oh man, the yell leaders. What was up with the? If you went to the game, A&M's band is out of pocket. They think if you think the milkmen think it's about them, the band. I mean, it looks like they're trying to lead the Third Reich back from the World War II. Like their uniforms and how they
Are
performed
they the
at
one that swing
halftime.
the handkerchiefs?
Yeah, they've got the boots up to their knees, and they all walk in like lockstep, and it was just a whole. Every time LSU's band would play, they were trying to play, and it's like y'all are going to get drowned out here. And then the milkmen they get on the knee and arm in arm and watch the entire band play from the 50. And it's just one of the most bizarre scenarios. I had to leave. I was like, I can't even look at this anymore.
They got like a military band.
Yeah, they're trying to do something there, man.
Are they in the military?
No. If that's who's going to, if America gets in a pickle and that's who's going over there, we're in a bigger pickle. Like, that's not the first people I want signing up.
Texas A&M.
Yeah. Are we going to chant like the Revolutionary War? We're going there?
Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Go Roof, a beautiful roof every single time. You get a 2-year free workmanship guarantee with all new roof installations. Over at Go Roof, you can dial them up, 225-927-8300. Competitive pricing, free quotes, free inspections. If you need roof repair, roof installation, or roof maintenance, give them a call. Residential roofing, commercial roofing, or roofing repairs online at geauxroof.com. geauxroof.com, 225-927-8300. It's the phone number to get in touch with Go Roof. Tell them you heard it right here on the show. Roof's up, a beautiful roof every single time. Go Roof, proud sponsor here of the Jordy Culotta Show. Live here on this Monday. If you don't mind, give us a like, share, follow, as we will be here until 9 a.m. Also, give us a subscription if you have not subscribed to the show. But LSU football wraps up another regular season win as they take care of business versus Texas A&M as the final score in this one.
This is actual
42-30.
This is an actual
Saturday.
military uniform.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, it's an actual.
They're cosplaying.
Like, it's
Like,
an
look
actual
at their-
military uniform.
That's what I'm saying. They're marching in on the American Revolution. Like, I'm going to let you know I'm here with my little,
And they got
little
the-
drummer boy with my little snare drum. Like, hey, America's here.
They got the little handkerchief in their boot.
I mean,
Oh my
you
goodness.
just got to look in the mirror and be like, what am I really doing?
Do I really want to be here?
What was the stadium like?
Oh, dude, it was like some people put out pictures early of
It was
like it being
kinda-
half full or whatever. Dude, it was packed.
full.
By the time, I mean, people trickled in late, obviously Thanksgiving, whatever. But by the middle of the first quarter, it was as good as you can expect from an 11 a.m. crowd. I think everybody wanted to see Jayden Daniels one last time.
I think so, too.
Yeah, student section was packed.
Was
like, just,
packed.
like, from watching it on TV, like, it was packed.
That's because everybody, I'd imagine every LSU student, their parents were like, go back to school.
Yeah.
You're causing
You
so
have
many
been-
problems.
You have been drinking
Uh-huh.
since you got here.
Yes. What happened to my son? What happened to my special boy?
Well, Mom,
Yeah.
sorry. There's a lot of frats at LSU.
I got the over in the egg bowl. They ain't scoring.
I took the over in the Iowa game, Mom.
It was 24.5.
Was it 25.5?
And they still hit the under.
Was it 13-10?
No, I think they scored 23. I think, yeah, 13-10.
Ugh.
Yeah, I looked at it and I was like, I'm going to do it just
Iowa
because
wins,
I'm not going to be on the wrong side of history.
25.
Oh, yeah.
That is gross, man.
Son, I think I have to fire you.
Tell us about Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
No, son, you're fired.
You're fired.
Like, you're done.
I don't think you should be. Maybe go into defensive coordinator.
It's over, man. He's a good offensive line coach. He'll be an offensive line coach somewhere next year.
Probably there.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Make a couple of staff changes.
Yeah, bury him. Announce it on a Friday, the old Urban Meyer way.
We sent the press release out 6 o'clock on Friday. You didn't see it?
They fire their offensive coordinator next year, mid-year, and bring him back.
LSU has a chance here for 2 years in a row and 10 wins. And look, I do believe that from Brian Kelly's stability, consistent standpoint of building the program, I believe that this means something and gives motivation to LSU in whatever bowl that they are projected in. I've seen them projected in Tampa
ReliaQuest.
to play against Notre Dame.
Touchdown, Jesus.
That'd be pretty.
That'd be interesting.
That would be interesting. It would be interesting.
I think Notre Dame even put out a tweet, or was it Notre Dame account? I don't know if it was the full Notre Dame football, but they were like, fingers crossed for LSU. And it's like, you sure about that?
I don't know if you want that smoke.
Or maybe you do. Maybe you do.
They wanted if Jayden Daniels wasn't playing. Probably.
Oh, yeah, and that would be the funniest thing, is if they get LSU with a neutered LSU, and they'll be like, oh, look what Brian Kelly did. It's like, you're missing probably the Heisman winner, and what should be the Heisman winner and the Biletnikoff winner aren't playing. The two best players on the team said, we'll see ya. And then you can start probably, I don't know how much Harold Perkins will play in the bowl game. Like some of these guys that you know what they are, it might be a week special. His foot's better.
What about Sam Hartman?
His foot looked better.
Man, I tell you what, Deshaun Womack looked good. The couple of plays he got out there. I don't know what he was doing in the opening kickoff.
Coach, I was trying to field that thing and get some yards.
Don't field it. Don't touch it. It's going out of bounds.
Let it go out of bounds.
But then he got the idea of like, well, what if I field it after he's already touched it with 1 foot in bounds and 1 foot out of bounds? Then you could be a penalty.
It was a bad moment.
It was.
A bad moment.
But
Bad
hey,
moment.
lights are bright. I'm ready.
You didn't bring him in to return kicks.
Yeah, but
you
if I'm
brought
not
him in to sack the quarterback.
But if I'm not going to do that, I'm returning the kick.
The guy gets a couple of plays and makes an impact.
Havoc.
You saw Whit Weeks sparingly out there. not as much as you thought to. I mean, you saw a couple of more instances of Omar Speights just not, it's just different when he's out there. And I'm not here to pour on, but, the screen pass where he misses the tackle and he can't chase down the tight end to tackle him. I mean, that is
number 42 has never outran anybody in his life.
I mean,
that was the first time he
looks like the
open
poster
field.
child of an Aggie.
Yes.
Like that's what when I picture Aggie football players in my head, I see number 42
I texted
with the mustache and the crew cut.
I texted
and
Lloyd
the biggest shoulder pads you've ever seen.
I texted Lloyd after he scored. I said, "This man just got scored on by a FFA member."
Yeah,
Max Wright.
Max Wright. How do you spell it?
I mean, if he catches the first fourth down in the game, who knows what happens on the opening drive?
His hands hit his head before the ball hit the ground.
No doubt.
Coach, these things are bricks.
Yeah, I'm wide open. But I mean, that's another part of the game that kind of was a turning point, because if he catches that, you're in a world of hurt again. Where LSU doesn't get a chance to get the ball back. They played how many plays of offense did LSU have in the first half? It was hold on, I have it right here. They played. Hold on.
At one
Time of
point,
possession was 10 minutes and 28 seconds for LSU. Texas A&M held the ball for 19 minutes and 32 seconds.
They had a great game plan.
Oh yeah, it was
against the number one offense.
Play keep away.
It's one thing to say, hey, look, go out there, control the clock, keep the ball away from the number one offense, and then you go out there and you put together a 15 and a 17 play drive, where you choke the clock. I mean, that is. It's easy to say it, but it's hard to go out there and execute it. Yet, against LSU's defense, nothing seems hard to do. But
it's like instead of taking chunk plays, they're almost like let's continue.
just kind of
17 plays, 13 plays,
death by paper
plays.
cuts. It was total plays in the first half. A&M 42, LSU 23, and you still managed to put up 14 points, where you don't really have a lot of opportunity to do so. It was just that's what made the game. It reminded me a lot of Auburn 2019, the game plan against Jayden Daniels, in which, if you look back at how Auburn kind of treated Joe Burrow, where it was a lot of the same of, we're going to anaconda the clock to death, and then we're not going to let you hit you for like any big plays. You're only going to have to matriculate the ball down the field and choose some more clock. But then by the time LSU figured out, apparently went into half, as Brian Kelly said, we figured out cover 2, which is good. That's progress in the last game of the year whenever your defense has been astonishingly bad. We got cover 2 figured out at half. And he ran that, and then he started spying Perk and kept him on the field on third down. But Weeks came out there. You saw Walmack. Like, you saw...
I mean, whoever's decision it was to take Perkins off the field
and
on
Weeks
third
at the
downs,
same time.
Like, really, give me your office. It needs to be cleaned up. Who thought
he was gassed, though?
It was, but it's so many, it's just so many things in this defense where you just look at it and who makes these decisions? Like the Ovia Gofu, Braden Swinson thing.
That's the best game Ovia Gofu's played.
That was his best game.
Just runs into tackles.
And there was still some moments where it's like, what is number 2 doing?
No doubt.
And then you look at the young DBs, like the freshman DBs, they played great.
Sage Ryan's best game.
Sage Ryan's best game, but even him, it's like you got 2 freshman corners on the field, and it's 3rd and 9, and they throwing at Sage Ryan. Like, they aren't throwing at Toviano or Stamps. They're throwing at Sage Ryan or one of the safeties. And the safety play is just...
It's over. I mean, that's the one thing, I was thinking on the car ride over here. I was like, I'm sad because the Jayden Daniels experience was so much fun, and now,
It's over.
It's over. But, I mean, that's... At least you get to kind of turn the page on the defense, too. Like, you get... At least you finally got some experience for Toviano, experience for Stamps.
Jordan Allen.
Jordan Allen looked good.
I thought Jordan Allen looked real good.
That's that's the things that you look at this defense is like, why hasn't Jordan Allen played? Toviano. I mean,
how is that guy?
How do we go to practice these 15 spring or fall camp practices and 25 he can't play?
Or just you run into the situations you were in the first 9 games, 8 games of the year, and you're like, you give him his first start against Bama? And it turns out he's the only player that could have made in the defensive backfield that open field tackle he made near the goal line.
Yeah.
Where they ran that little tight end screen, and it was just one-on-one. It was a straight just like Oklahoma drill.
It's me and you.
Yeah, just one-on-one. He puts his head down. Now, look, I mean, I'm sure it crunched him.
Yeah, he took the brutal hit,
but
got him to the ground.
From what you want to see, what you've been seeing, I mean, that's something that just, like, where has that been? That's been on the sidelines? I mean, it's just, it is alarming how they don't play the best players on defense.
Right.
Like, it is. And from everybody, from recruits to coaches to
other
former
teams.
coaches to other teams, you talk to everybody. I mean, it's just like, I don't know why they don't play Whit Weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't play these guys. I mean, it's
very maddening.
It is, man.
Well, that's where some of the fire madhouse conversation comes from, and I think a lot of it was inexperience, which that feels more of like a Brian Kelly call, right? He even talked about it in the presser when he was talking about Malik Neighbors. He's like, this is why we develop guys, and you'll see them perform better when they're older.
Yeah,
but it's like some of that develiment has to come on the field.
I was going to say, Malik would have started as a freshman. He hurt his shoulder.
Right.
So
no, I did. I heard that same bite, and I was thinking,
I get what you're trying to slide in here, but
like the defensive staff needs to hear this.
Yeah.
Or I mean, like,
or you should tell them that.
Or you should just say, I'll handle it. I know the theory. I want to do this. I mean, let's hear from Brian Kelly. We have some sound bites from Kelly, and we'll open up the phone lines in the second hour. So stick around. We want to hear from you on what your thoughts of LSU closing out the season, regular season now in the books. What's the potential of the postseason? Anything you want to talk about with LSU? We'll have the open phone lines.
No Saints
coming up here. No, the Saints.
Unless they draft Jayden Daniels.
Saints are terrible.
Where would
blow the Saints up? I mean, everybody. I'd blow the whole thing up. I mean, like management, players, the whole thing. I mean, like it's old, it's stale. I think. I mean, 15 plus years in any job is a long time. 15 plus years in a job in the NFL is an eternity. I mean, people like Mickey Loomis and Dennis Lauscha and, all these people that have been running the organization for, more than, 12, 15 years plus. I mean, look, I'm not saying lose your job. I know that there's a lot of things happen at Benson Properties. I mean, from horse racing to real estate to football to the NFL to the NBA. I mean, the Saints, I mean, go find some qualified young minds who know how to run sports franchises and get them in there. Saints feel very stale, man. Mm-hmm. Just very, it's hard to watch.
And you see the Broncos go on an absolute tear right now.
Yeah. It was 6 straight? 6 straight? Mm-hmm. I think they won 6 straight.
5 or 6 straight, yep. And then he finally made Russell Wilson run. He's like, look, I'm tired of you. I don't know who you think you are, but you got to use
Wilson's growing on him.
Yeah.
I mean, like you can tell, like they're
running option offense.
He's resurging Wilson's career.
He is. Mm-hmm. You knew it would happen.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they got weapons. They have everything they need. It was just
a point of contention.
Yeah, I think he was broken.
Yeah, Sean Payton takes a second for him to impose his will. Where they're like, this guy is like, you don't like it, he'll cut you.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
it's my team.
He's got job security.
Yeah.
Remember our friends over at Signa Frames. Signa Frames remind you today is Cyber Monday, and they are offering 15% off when you use the code Cyber15. You want to use the code Cyber15 to save yourself 15% over with our friends at Signa Frames. Remember, they gave away the Drew Brees jersey. We've got the Harold Perkins jersey here in studio. But check them out, Signa Frames on Instagram. And if you order today with the code Cyber15 here on this Cyber Monday, you can save yourself 15%. This is a perfect Christmas present for all the guys, men in the family, dads, uncles, brothers, husbands, sons. If you want to check out this website with cool jersey selections, check out Signa Frames and use the code Cyber15 to save your 15% here on this Cyber Monday. So shout out to Signa Frames. Hour 2, as we said, we're going to take your phone calls here. We will have the phone number for you and get you lined up here in the second hour. We love to hear from you. Love the interaction. We appreciate you being out there here on this Monday. Reminding you, if you have not subscribed to the YouTube page, please do so, as we always look forward to getting this information out to you. And we'll have cuts and clips throughout the day on YouTube. So set the alert button and you'll get notified when we put out our content. All right, let's hear a little bit from Brian Kelly to close out hour 1 here, Stewie. This is the opening statement of the press conference following Saturday's win, 42-30 over A&M, which was the 9th win of the regular season for Kelly and the LSU Tigers. Now 9-3 on the year here after the regular season in year 2.
Well, great way to finish the regular season. And I know you already know this, but 7-0 at home. We're really proud of that accomplishment. That was something that we talked about. Winning at home in Tiger Stadium is important to us. I think 13-1 over the last 2 years at home. That is something that we talk about and playing well at home. And I thought our guys, we said this on a number of occasions, and especially on the defensive side of the ball. We're not perfect. We have to grind, but I'm proud of their resolve. And I think that showed, especially in the second half. I think, they were 2 of 9 in the second half and third down conversions. We couldn't stop them. We couldn't get off the field in the first half. In the second half, they really made some plays. We got the pick, which was huge, converted that offensively. And then our playmakers made plays. Big-time players make big-time plays in games like this. And you saw Neighbors and Thomas and obviously Daniels with the 4 touchdowns against, I would consider, the best defense that we've played all year. Just another incredible performance. So really proud of our coaches, really proud of our football team to come back and get a victory and get 9 wins and have a chance for 10 again. Was an important milestone for us. So with that, we'll open up to questions.
Obviously, Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas, another stellar day for the dual wide receivers, really the best pass catching duo in college football. Both Neighbors and Thomas had a big day. Kyron Lacey scored a touchdown as well. It was, as Coach Kelly said, everybody was eating. The big dogs were on display. And when your best players are making plays like LSU had them doing on Saturday, they're going to be tough to handle. Here's more from Kelly yesterday talking about the fourth quarter when it seemed like everything started to come together.
Well, again, I think we made some plays defensively that I thought got some momentum, and then, quite frankly, I thought our offensive line kind of, stood tall, protected, and we won some one-on-one matchups. Became a little bit more predictable in terms of what was going to happen out there. They had tried some different things, obviously, with dropping 8, and he heard them running the football. And then the pressures, we were able to, start to pick up the pressures and then get the one-on-one matchups. And again, you may get Jayden for a little bit, but you just can't keep him down.
This is 8, Stewie. This is more of Brian Kelly talking about Jayden Daniels' performance on Saturday.
Well, I arguably would say that this, first of all, it's a top 10 defense in the country. I think their defensive line is outstanding. And he had 4 touchdown passes. You throw for 4 touchdown passes against a defense, you put up 42 points. It sure as heck can't hurt you. And then obviously running the way he did, I just think he just strengthened his case for the Heisman.
We were talking about it, staff evaluations and movement on the staff. If so, when would that be expected? Kelly was asked about it following the game on Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, look, every year there's going to be an evaluation. I mean, I evaluate what I've done, and I have to look at, as the leader of this program, how did I lead this year? So it starts with me, and then I'll evaluate all of our coaches and our support staff as well. Everybody is part of this evaluation process. Our players will be evaluated this week, and then I'll go through a lengthy evaluation process of our entire staff, not just the coaches, but the entire support staff as well. The ultimate goal here is to win championships, but I also know that the development of this program is still ongoing, and that's an important piece in this evaluation process as well.
Here's the soundbite that we were talking about, the development part of LSU and what you get when you come to the program. And here's Kelly explaining on a couple of key players how that's worked out.
Yeah, and again, it's a natural progression within this program that players are going to develop, and that when when it's time, for them to move to that next level, whether it's their sophomore year, junior year, senior year, you're going to see player development here. That's why I love coaching. That's why I'm in this business, because we're going to develop our players. And so he's part of a program where you're going to see player development. Our players are going to have their best year in their later years as they develop. We played a lot of freshmen this year, and there was some growing pains, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But they're going to be better for it next year, and we're going to see that tangibly in the way they play.
Kelly was also asked about his name popping up for some potential jobs. Texas A&M was obviously filled over the weekend. Many believe that the Michigan job will possibly open up with Jim Harbaugh. Harbaugh's name, again, creeping around NFL jobs, obviously with the controversy that's going on up in Ann Arbor this year with the sign stealing and the recruiting stuff that happened with the NCAA at the beginning of the year. If that Michigan job opens up, some believe and have speculated that Brian Kelly could be a name that ends up in that discussion. Here is Kelly addressing that on Saturday night following the win.
Yeah, I've been in this for 30-something years. What's that, like 200 and something dog years? It's a long time. I feel that way sometimes. This is where I wanted to be. I wanted to be at LSU, and I love it here. And I'm not going anywhere. This is my stop. This is the last stop on the Coach Kelly caravan. And you always go, wow, he's just saying that, to get the right soundbite. But I don't have to say anything that puts me in a corner. But this is it. This is where I want to be. This is where I want to coach. I love it here. I love the people. I love the state, and I love the fact that I'm working with an administration, an athletic director, and Scott Woodward, and a president and President Tate that are giving us the support necessary to graduate champions. And so this is where I want to be.
Wilson, you got the last one.
Other than saying I don't want to put myself in a box, that's kind of the way to handle it. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I think coaches have to keep themselves, unless you're Dan Lanning, Phil Knight is like, yo, Dan, whatever they throw at you, it doesn't matter. We're going to pay you more. So you can go up there and say, look, I'm never leaving. I don't want to leave. Maybe so. I believe him when he says that he wants to be at LSU. I don't think you take this job 2 years ago and not want to be here.
You think Oregon's a better job than LSU?
No. I think that Dan Lanning would listen to LSU if it was opened.
Yeah.
I don't know if Dan Lanning believes that Texas A&M is a better job than Oregon.
Yeah.
I think that Dan Lanning has the luxury, kind of like Kirby Smart did, but Lanning is now a head coach, to kind of wait and see if there's any job that he wants. I'm sure he's probably looking at the Alabama job.
Yeah.
And there's only maybe two
handful,
other ones,
maybe
that you would leave Oregon for, because Oregon feels like an SEC team.
Yeah.
I mean, he's recruiting it like an SEC team. He coaches it like an SEC team. If they get into the playoff, I would say that there would be the scariest team.
Yeah.
Outside of Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, just for Georgia.
I
would say like Georgia's the biggest.
But
they're the favorite.
I think Georgia would put Bo Nix in a.
They probably would. They probably would.
They already did.
Mm-hmm. Last year.
What was that? That was last year, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because everybody was saying, everybody at Oregon was excited about the Bo Nix transfer, and then the first game he has to do is everything that he ran from. Like, I tried to get away from the
and
SEC.
They only scored 3 points.
Yeah, I mean I feel like Bo Nix has obviously gotten better, but that was the reason that he sprinted to the Pac-12. Was like, this fits more my style.
These
of how
defenses are too real.
Yeah, everybody's playing 30 yards off the ball. I got some time to maneuver. His best game at Auburn was against LSU. I don't think that's really that was the time he was running for his life. B.J. Ojulari had the man on skates. They just couldn't get him down. So if you're Dan Lanning, it depends on how he views what he thinks Oregon can be and if they can consistently compete with SEC teams. Because the reason you take a job or stay at a Pac, whatever it's going to be, where are they going? Big 10, Big 12, whatever it is.
10.
The reason that, especially if you wanted to stay, like move to a different conference, is if we put a stranglehold on this thing, we'll be able to get into the playoff every year. 1 year I'm a pop. Yeah. But then it's usually everybody else trying to get to the SEC, to get to the table, to get to, national recognition and try to turn a team around. I feel like Dan Lanning could handle the pressure of being in the SEC. He's already done it before in terms of being a coordinator, so he knows what it is. But if he's at Oregon, you can build a power where you're just consistently, hey, we're going to be in the playoff, and then you get it 1 year. It's a hard thing to walk away from unless an opportunity like an Alabama or probably an LSU comes open where, like, that thing's already ready-made. I can do it.
No doubt. Yeah, I mean,
those are the jobs you take.
Yeah, right. Those are the ones you want.
Yeah.
I mean, Kirby Smart has laid out the blueprint for the ones that can get there. I mean, that's a tough place. It's a tough luxury to get to, but.
And hell, they were calling for Kirby's head his first 3 years at Georgia. Like, it takes a second, and now he's going for a three-peat for a national championship. So that's where I'm still in the camp of don't be so quick to fire somebody just because the grass isn't always greener every single time.
Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Pierce Bespoke. Pierce Bespoke is a mobile tailor service headquartered here in Baton Rouge. They host trunk shows across the country. They're over at law firms, casinos, university, high-end hotels, whiskey lounges, cigar bars, and more. They outfit everybody from athletes to coaches to politicians to even players on LSU and Southern. Get in touch with them at piercebespoke.com. And if you mention the show, they'll take $200 off of your custom fit, your first custom fit, if you mention the Culotta Show. They take the measurements. They take in thousands of fabrics that you have a chance to choose from, allow you to build your own sport coat, your pants, your shirts, suits. Delivery time just in between 3 to 4 weeks. One of the fastest in the country. Get in touch with my friend Grayson Augustus over at Pierce Bespoke. PierceBespoke.com. Mention the show and you'll save $200 over there with Pierce Bespoke and using our name and the Culotta Show. So we appreciate that. Charlie Oliver says, damn, Jordy, they're dragging you on Tiger droppings. That just sounds like a Monday, Charlie. And we're just telling you what we're hearing, man.
Makes me feel like I'm right.
Right? I mean, we're not, I tell you, this is not a report. We're not saying that this is happening. We're just telling you what we're hearing, and that's kind of what this show does. So we appreciate the run over there. And
tell them to like and subscribe.
That's right. Make sure they are subscribed, like, follow, share. We'll be back hour 2 taking your phone calls.
Hey, Chino.
Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Thanks.
And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Hey Tiger fans, when you're traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit Tom and Wright Granning at Go Mart and On The Go Deli, where you can fill up your tank and your belly. Go Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip. Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left. Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, where the Po' Boys are so good you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
All right, buddy. Make it a good shot.
Oh, yeah.
Sticking the roof in. Hey, Greg, the roof up? Roof's up. Roof's up. Roof's up.
Roof's up?
Roof's up.
Roof's up!
Beautiful roof every single time. True. True.
Well, the Ochsner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute collaborative effort was an idea from Dr. Andrews and myself to bring together two great names, the Andrews name and the Ochsner name, to elevate the quality of care for athletes in the state of Louisiana, where he's from.
I always thought I would come back to Louisiana and practice orthopedics with my subspecialty being sports medicine. This was an opportunity through Ochsner's to come back and work the entire state to help develop and take sports medicine to a new level.
As an orthopedic surgeon, what this means in the future in terms of, access for our community to the type of care that Dr. Andrews pioneered, words can't describe how valuable that is.
Ochsner has a great opportunity here to really grow, and Dr. Burnham, of course, is the mainstay of making that happen. If you want to have first-class sports medicine care, check in with Dr. Burnham and his group, and you'll be more than impressed and pleased.
There.
Cut my headphones up, bro. Yeah, right there. Now I'm focused on getting deposits. Evil in the way, now I'm just driving around it. They said I need a soul searching, I already found it. I unlocked my other side, now I'm sounding the
All right, hell yeah, 3-page thread on Tiger droppings already, and it ain't even 8:15 in the morning. We appreciate the support and the love for the show, and we're going to dive into it. We're going to take your phone calls here in the second hour as well. Stewie, flash that phone number if you don't mind. Last 2 weeks we've been handing out Lloyd's personal phone number,
Absolutely.
so if you've been lucky enough over the last couple of weeks to dial us up, make sure you got that number saved and hit him up for anything.
Anything.
I mean,
business recommendation.
Anything.
Yeah.
707-400-5575.
Put him on the application
phone number
as a reference.
All right, our guy
party?
Charlie Oliver, who is inside of the chat app, tipped us off that they were roasting us on Tiger droppings after we speculated early on in the show. And again, people, this is not. We're not reporting. We're not saying this is happening. We're speculating. We're talking heads here. We give opinions on this show, and it is our opinion that we believe that Matt House at this point, it wouldn't be surprising to us if he was to return next year. It would be surprising to us if the rest of the staff outside of House defensively did return. So if you're looking for a prediction here, we do that here. We kind of talk, kind of give you our opinion, tell you what's going on. That we believe Matt House is most likely to return for his third year, and whether or not he's looking for a new defensive staff would be something that we would say happen. So on Tiger droppings this morning, it's starting. It looks like Covington Tiger 77 started the thread.
Shout out.
By saying Culotta says House is going to be retained defensively. No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that he's going to be retained defensively. I said it's our opinion that he would be retained defensively and come back for year 3. At no point did I say that we are reporting that Matt House will return for year 3. Covington Tiger 77 says, wow, Then from there, get out of here. Blue Loop, or B Loop, too, said, no one gives a fuck about Jordy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Blue.
Feel the same about you, buddy.
Devious says, because Jordy has inside scoop and hasn't been wrong about anything this season. I pick up the sarcasm there, Devious.
Yeah, I hope so.
Wiley Tiger, not buying it. Catfish John, Culotta is almost literally never right, to the point I feel like someone is intentionally giving him bad information.
Hey.
What was that one?
Catfish John, quick, almost literally doesn't make sense.
Cajun Tiger 10, JC doesn't know jack. He wants whatever gets media clicks. All right.
Yeah.
BK family, who takes Jordy seriously anymore? Engineero, Jordy doesn't know dick. All right. If that's true, then BK's an idiot and officially will declare him less 2.0. Let's see here. Let's sign some more.
Nick Satulli, BK hasn't evaluated coaches yet per his press conference. There's no way Jordy could know this. He's making shit up.
Young Buck, Jordy knows how to stay relevant even though he's wrong. Go Tigers 12. Jordy might have to get a real job at some point. Right?
Come to Click Here Digital.
Let me tell you, this podcast, man, it's keeping me living up in the high life. If it doesn't work out, I might have to find something. OJ's Life as Coach says, I don't know if this is a report. Is it even true? But I will say I'm not going to be surprised if House is retained. I've had the feeling all season that BK is putting perception out there that it just doesn't have the guys compete on the defensive side, not ever blames the scheme or the staff in any way.
I think if they shake up the position coaches, buy House another season, which I feel is unacceptable. Frustrating because I don't see how you can spend this defensive performance as just being low on talent when it seems to be clear as day that House went beyond inept and even kind of making something worse with what the defense have had. So maybe you had somebody in your camp.
Rocky One says, if he's wrong about this one, dude's media company might go under.
Jeez. There's another one, LSU alum 2000. I think he's right. A lot of smoke regarding House getting retained, but we'll be getting somebody back from the Sunshine State. 10 downvotes.
St. Tiger 225. Imagine spending your morning listening to Culotta. No wonder there's so much stupidity on this board. In fairness, thank you, Pure Metairie. In fairness, finally we got a listener. Pure Metairie says, in fairness, Jordy's not declaring that it's his prediction. He said several folks with connection to the team told him that. There you go, Pure Metairie. I appreciate that.
Listening. Active listening.
Catfish John says to that statement, the old CYA, Jordy's a clown. Is he an insider? Nah. Some days.
But
this is great. I appreciate the thread. Where are we at now? 3 pages?
3 pages, and it's still rolling.
Sweet. Keep it rolling out there. We might do a Tiger dropping segment.
We should. Jeez.
Yeah, if they're going to put this much effort into it, I wish I would help with the show, Doc. That would be great.
We need a list of Jordy breaking news that turned out to be BS. Let's make that list.
This is a good one.
We can help.
LSU fan Miseway. He also said Denver Harris was good to go.
He is good to go.
I mean, he is. He is.
Coach's decision.
He's still on the team.
Yeah, what do you want?
What do you want from me, man?
It's actually at 4 pages now.
Hell yeah. Keep him growing.
Said he was coming. He's
4
here.
pages. All right, so let's take phone calls. 707-400-5575 is the number. Remember, daily, we're brought to you by Katie's Restaurant. Katie's is located down on Iberville Street in the Mid-City, heart of Mid-City in New Orleans. If you want to find them online, katiesinmidcity.com. Coldest beer in town. They have embraced the new hours on Sunday. Remember, you can find them 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. on Sundays. Pre-game, post-game, in-game. They got 6 new televisions watching NFL games down there for you. Get in touch with Katie's, katiesinmidcity.com. Tell them you heard it here on the show. To the phone lines we go. You tell us where you're from, where you're calling from. Have a take, don't suck. Good morning. You're on.
Hey, this is Easy from Richmond, Virginia.
Hell yeah, Easy. Start us off. What you got? Happy Thanksgiving.
All right. Have you ever seen The Color Purple?
I have.
If you have, my name is Mary Agnes, and I'm fixing to sing. The LSU defense is historically atrocious. With one of the most productive offenses in LSU's history, there's been zero development defensively. You can't look the same from game 1 to game 12. The defensive deficiencies are not singular, but pluralistic in nature. Bad schemes, youth and inexperience from the linebackers and secondaries, poor technique, poor tackling, can't get stops on 3rd and 4th down all season. This is fixable, but by someone else. I rarely call for someone to be terminated from coaching because I'm not in the building every day. But you cannot be near the bottom statistically and visually and keep your job. My question is, who do we bring in? I hear the fan base calling for Aranda, but does anybody remember 2019? In 2019, before the last maybe 3 games, LSU was in a lot of close games, and they gave up a lot of points to some people who they shouldn't have. Hey, guys, thank you for the interaction. This has been very cathartic for this season.
Easy. We will keep the phone lines open because of callers like you, man. We appreciate your take, your opinion, and listening out in Richmond, Virginia. However you're accessing us, we appreciate that very much. And for you interacting with us each Monday morning when we open up the phone lines is going to keep this segment moving throughout the year. Back to the phone lines we go, Stewie. We good over there?
Yeah, no calls, yeah.
Okay, my bad.
I was getting a call.
We'll keep them open. 707-400-5575 is the phone number. Have a take, don't suck. Just let us know where you're calling from, what your name is. A lot like Easy from Richmond there, who has been consistent all season long, been a fantastic listener and somebody who's had really good takes. Is really kind of the standard of what we're looking for people to get in here. Don't waste anybody's time. Everybody's doing good. Give us your opinion, and we love to hear from you. If you're watching the show right now on YouTube and you are not subscribed to the show, make sure and hit that subscription button. If you want to know when we go live, all you got to do is hit that bell right next to subscription, and you'll know what's going on. We good, Stewie? Back to the phone lines we go. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up, Jordy? This Worm the Don. How y'all doing?
What up, Worm?
I hope y'all got a good morning going.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But, man, I just want to know in the transfer era, I really don't have a take. I just got a question, Jordy. Yep. In this transfer era, with guys like Quincy Wiggin not playing, because I still feel like he's a beast. Guys like the Weeks brothers sitting on the bench. Do y'all think we're going to lose these guys? Like, it's going to be hard to keep these guys when these guys are some of the best players on the team and they not seeing the field. Like, I'm at all of why number one was playing, but with Weeks or West Weeks, without the youngest brother wasn't playing. You know what I'm saying? He should have been in there.
I agree wholeheartedly with you. I don't think that you coach against the transfer portal like you're trying to coach without your guys going into the portal. But I think you got to play the best players, and that has been my argument all season long, watching LSU defensively. When you watch LSU offensively, they are night and day differently than what looks like is the standard on defense. They play the best players. They put the ball in the best player's hand. If a player's hot, they go back to them. I mean, they use all these theories that you would believe in sports and competition always make all the sense. And for whatever reason, the fact that Omar Speights is still out there chasing ball carriers down from the back and can't wrap them up and tackle, it is not being degrading to Omar Speights. It's more saying, hey, why is that playing when you've got a guy on the sideline that has proven that he makes that play? And I know we saw Whit Weeks for a small time on Saturday, but I would still argue and say play him more. Deshaun Womack played sparingly on Saturday. He played a small. You got a total amount of snaps Deshaun Womack played. If I was betting two
total snaps.
Are you kidding me? Yeah. He played 2 total snaps
per line,
and
Phillips.
He had 1 sack.
Lon Phillips.
I mean, like, so what else does he have to do?
And he does that every time.
7 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, we saw him against Arkansas. He played 5 snaps.
3 pressures.
3 pressures, a sack, and a quarterback hurry. What else could you do to prove? I mean, Whit Weeks played 3 straight weeks in a row. He played Mississippi State, Arkansas, and Auburn. All 3 games he was the leading tackler. Against Alabama, Florida, and Georgia State, he didn't take a rep. I don't believe that his foot was cut for all 3 of those games. I don't.
Deshaun Womack played 2 total defensive snaps, half a sack, 1 pressure, and half a tackle for loss.
Man, if I was Deshaun Womack, I would say, why wouldn't I go? Why would I not? Why would I not look into going to that? You know, I mean, again, going back to the Brian Kelly statement, You come to LSU to get developed. That guy was making sacks in week 4. He's making sacks in week 12. You couldn't get pressure all season long, and that guy's been watching? How? Back to the phone lines we go. 707-400-5575 is the number. Get in touch with us. Have a take, don't suck. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, it's Ryan in Central Arkansas again, Jordy.
Hey, Ryan. Good morning. What's on your mind?
If this stuff is true, I was really after the A&M game. I told my wife, I was like, dude, they've still got the hammer on this defensive staff, even despite the greatness this year. It is so bad. It is so bad right now. It's, when I see guys like Elijah Robinson on the other sideline that's not even from here, I'm thinking, did Brian Kelly possibly walk up to all these guys and shake his hand and say, hey, man, I need help here really bad? Like, I'm not saying they could. I think A&M's going to retain him, but just Arkansas staff here. The one thing that Arkansas fans say around here is, man, we're really happy with our defensive staff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where they got all these guys from, but it's like, man, if we'd have had their defense this year, we would have really had something. We'd probably be dancing our way to Houston, punching a ticket. It's inept. There's no way, I seen Matt House say, I don't even have the people right now to do dime and nickel at times. Well, man, if that's the case, look, this is going into your third off season. And let's say you do somehow keep this job. Your third off season and you're not building that depth to do that. Like it's financially, it's unacceptable. So don't tell me there should be no excuse at this point. I really don't like Brian Kelly's excuse of, guys like Stamps and Telviano. Well, they're freshmen. Well, we've always had an elite corner out there starting as a true freshman on some of our best teams year in, year out. So, at some point by week 12, don't give me that. And look, I don't want to be the guy that sounds like, hey, I'm all about when something goes bad, fire a guy. But this is not, at this point, you cannot be this delusionally lost. I mean, the whole country's talking about us, that we're not even using Harold Perkins in the right formation. We should be worried that we could lose him. Seriously. I mean, it's like, what are we doing? So I'm hoping they change that. My last thing, I'm going to give you a take and see what y'all guys thinking about it. But KJ Jefferson, we do need somebody else to elevate this offense and push the Nuss bus, I think, to up his game. That's why you come here, to compete and push yourself. Because we could get in a scenario where we lose him next year. He gets hurt or some scenario and we didn't have a backup plan. I think he would be incredible in this kind of offense. What do y'all think about that? And I'll let y'all go.
Ryan, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, I'm sure I think they will take a chance inside the portal. They'll definitely peek to see for any, not just because I don't think there's no belief in Garrett Nussmeier. I think it's a scenario in which you just laid out that I'm sure they like Ricky Collins too, but there's always a place for a veteran quarterback to, you get hurt in the third quarter, you're trying to hold on to a lead, somebody that can step in and has done it before.
Well, look what gives the majority of the high-level defenses confusion. Look at what gives defenses the most to prepare for. It's dual-threat quarterbacks. I mean, if you've seen and what's given Nick Saban trouble, right? It's been quarterbacks that can run and could throw it. Everybody from Jayden Daniels to Jordan Jefferson has given Saban trouble. I mean, that's why Saturday Auburn was so surprising to see. They even had a chance in that game. I mean, the quarterback Thorne, he completed 5 passes on Saturday. 5 passes for 90 yards. They ran the ball for over 270. I mean, it was just like this crazy run game that they were able to win with, but it's the quarterback that puts the most pressure on these defenses. Kirby Smart's defenses, Nick Saban's defenses, Brent Venables' defenses. I mean, defenses that are well respected in college football, they have the most issues with quarterbacks that have multiple skill sets. And while, players like Garrett Nussmeier can still win, you can still win games. By no means is anybody saying that you can't win at a high level with a more of a pro-style quarterback. It's proven that dual threats are
what gives defenses the most trouble.
It's just the way of the football world right now, and it's not just college football. The NFL is adapted. The NFL is really, looking and
defend all 11
and evaluating that position, looking for that skill set.
Peyton Thorne was 5 of 16 for 91 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. He ran it 15 times for 56 yards. I don't think that's why they brought Peyton Thorne in.
5 of 16 for 90
that's
yards.
At the Anthony Jennings stat line.
That is disgusting, man. I mean,
and they should have won.
And they had a chance to win it, right? They should have won. Hit that like button, share button, comment button. Back to the phone lines we go. Have a take, don't suck. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Lee. I'm from League City, Texas.
What's up, Lee? What's on your mind?
I'm thinking a lot about this defensive coordinator situation, and I'm hearing everybody's take, and believe me, I've been critical all season. I was there Saturday. The third down, fourth down stuff is beyond frustrating. But there's also, you also got to think about it this way. They ran into some of the worst luck I think I've ever seen a team run into early in the season with the whole Jimmy Lindsey thing and with the whole Greg Brooks situation, which is horrible. He was a glue player for your defense. You lost him for the season. So, I mean, I'm not trying to make an excuse for really bad ball because it's been bad ball all year. But these guys had a tough situation. I think that changes still need to occur. But there were times where Matt House shined last year. So can he get it done? I think he can. I just think in today's day and age, what have you done for me lately? What can you do for me now? Everybody's got the pitchforks. Fire the guy, fire the guy. I don't know. I'm kind of agreeing with Lloyd a little bit here this morning. Maybe we might want to ride with him another year. I don't know.
It's fair.
See. What do you think?
No, it is fair because I do believe that the get the pitchforks out at every single turn.
It's the easiest thing to do.
But what's the play? Like it's so surprising to me, and maybe Texas A&M did, but that they did not have the deal done when they made the move with Fisher. Like I would just think if you're sitting in that position at that spot, and I'm not just talking about Texas A&M, I'm talking about those types of jobs in general, those size, those scopes, you're making a move that is gonna shake the earth up. I mean, it's gonna create some tremors that are felt far beyond your campus, right? So you got to get it right. I mean, like we said when Scott Woodward hired Brian Kelly, he's probably only going to have 1, maybe 2 opportunities to hire an LSU football coach. Rarely will an athletic director get 3 opportunities to bring in a coach for football. If you do, odds are you haven't done your job. Right? So the fact that A&M pulled the trigger on Fisher and really didn't have it done, because the story goes on Mark Stoops, like he flew to College Station. They told Stoops on the tarmac, like, buddy, I know we've like gone a million miles in this negotiation, but right here at the finish line, we can't close the deal because I have been told by very trusted officials, like the board of directors, like shut the deal down on Sunday morning. So you would it tells me like Ross Bjork and the AD and the staff at Texas A&M, like they didn't have this deal done until, within the last 4 days. And now they had to go back to Elko. So, I agree with the sense of it's not always the right move to fire, to get rid of, to move on. And when you lay out circumstances like our caller did, who just called in from Texas, where you're dealing with Jimmy Lindsey, who goes down with a freak medical deal before the night before you report for camp. You lose your defensive line coach for, all intents and purposes, the season. And then you lose the captain of your team in Greg Brooks, who, how much do you miss him?
Right.
Really, just from a football standpoint, obviously in the locker room and on campus and, the human element of it, you can't even express. You can't put into words. You can't weigh that. Let's just talk about the football player, Greg Brooks. How much do you miss that guy? because I saw him running around 2 weeks with a brain tumor making plays. I mean, like, it'd be amazing to see him at full strength on this team that has struggled so mightily and just figuring out where they're supposed to line up. I mean, for the head coach to come out after the last regular season game and say, whether it was sarcastically or whether it was serious, say, we finally figured out cover 2. At a Division I SEC school like LSU, I mean, that is at the very least alarming, right? I mean, like, when I heard, I was like, woo. I mean, I don't even know if you joke about that. Like, that's tough to, like, even.
But if you've been watching, it's not like that's a surprise to anybody.
No, it's not.
Because you see with the defense that they rolled out there, they didn't do. They were very rarely were their like end game adjustments, which is what Matt House was kind of his calling card last year. LSU was down a lot of games after the first half. You came back and you saw the defense kind of put the clamps on and allowed your offense to score enough to be able to win. This year, it's been they got down early in the season a lot of games, but the offense became unlocked, and it was. Okay, your LSU was getting to third down, then it became the old LSU joke of like third and house, where they, like, even you can go back to the A&M game, they were 9 of 18 on third down. Like, it's hard to give up 50% of your third downs and be considered to win a football game, first of all. But it's the last, 12, maybe 16 minutes of the game where LSU kind of figured it out on defense, and they would hold them to 2 of 7 on third down, get them off the field, you get a turnover, like they miss a field goal, all of those things, that's how you come back and win a football game. And what's understated also is the 2-point conversion. It's 35-30. If they get that, it's a 1-score game, and you're able to get a stop there. So while it's easy to pile on Matt House right now, but at the end of the day, if it's figuring out cover 2, and a lot of that, I say this because Greg Brooks would get you lined up. That's what he's there for. Now, when he
gets you lined up, he makes the plays.
He makes plays, but it's like pre-snap. Whenever they start doing motion, and you look back at the defense, they're trying to adjust, and they score on a play where everybody's looking at each other while they hike the football. And that's the kind of stuff that would have been cleaned up when you have senior laden leadership on the back end, and not to mention you lose Alexander and you miss in the transfer portal twice the guys that you expected to start. Like, that's where the defense is bad, and that's why you're harping on to play young kids. They weren't supposed to be in this situation in the first place. Now, did it turn out they were the best players to play? Yes. But if you have 9 of 11 guys that have never really played in that situation, don't know what they're doing, doesn't matter how talented you are.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the story of, and I really mean this, and this is not disparaging to Jimmy Lindsey, the story of losing Greg Brooks was the biggest story of the year from a football standpoint.
Right.
I mean, that was without question. I mean, that was just an enormous deal, man, to take him off of the team and take him out of the locker room and take him off the field. You can't really aggregate. You can't calculate how much that means. All right, back to the phone lines. 707-400-5575. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yes, sir. You're on. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Ben. My name's Ben. I'm marooned in Katy, Texas.
All right. Ben, what's on your mind?
A couple of things. With regard to House, or the defense in general, I can see both sides of the argument. And, there's a lot of reasons perhaps to move on. You can make an argument to have him stick around. And my comment on that would be whatever is going to minimize the damage in the portal and in terms of attracting people and losing people. And I'm afraid that something not good is going to happen on that front. My bigger point is with regard to Kelly. His strength is being organized and meticulous and having a process. And I'm a little concerned that he may take too much time and end up putting us behind the 8 ball just because of that. I'll shut up now and hear your thoughts.
I appreciate it. Thanks for the call. I think that the timing on this is the most important, and I don't think that LSU has the luxury of being patient on this. I think if they're going to make a move, they have to make a move within the next 24 hours, really and truly. I think that's where they are. And this recruiting class, this transfer portal class is enormous to LSU next season. Because if you look at LSU, there are highs and there are lows of what the roster is going to return next year. And when you look at the offense, there is some extreme highs. I mean, you're bringing back an offensive line that's a Joe Moore Award finalist, and you bring back two of the best players in the country at that position. And potentially you upgrade this unit next year, maybe even like vastly, if you can, get the production from some of the young guys that they anticipate can step in and play immediately. Guys like DJ Chester and Paul Mubanga and Lance Hurd. I mean, there are guys in the offensive line room, Bo Bordelon, that they are really excited about outside of Emory Jones, Will Campbell, and the guys that they have already coming back. So the offensive line is going to be in fantastic position. I look at the running back position with Caleb Jackson and Trey Holly even, who flashed a little bit this season. Some guys from a veteran standpoint that they have coming back. Throw Caden Durham into that room. You're really good at running back next season. I think obviously with wide receiver, you lose 2 first-round picks in Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors, and they have recruited at a very high level. You've got some unproven guys that have some big potential and big talent that can step in and play. I would see them stepping into the transfer portal and trying to find some guys with experience at that position to bring in. Defensively, you've got to go sell a plan. You've got to go get guys to buy in. You've got to get guys to see what you're selling. How are you going to use them? What position are they going to play? What scheme are they going to run? And what is going to be, who's going to be the defensive backs coach? Who's going to be the linebackers coach, the defensive line coach? Who's going to be handling all that? You've got a message you've got to send out now. Like, seriously, like it's happening right now. So I think that the urgency is on LSU to strike now. I don't think they have the luxury of patience here. And I believe that you'll hear something, I'm surprised you haven't heard it by now. Really. I mean, I think that, that's where LSU is. I think, they have to really, figure out what they're going to do defensively, because you cannot, load up and do what you did this season and expect to have success within the portal, within recruiting to bring, your program up to speed. It's going to be crazy how we look back on this LSU football season, the more that it moves into the rearview mirror. I mean, really, think about what LSU has paralyzed. I mean, LSU has handicapped the best offense they've ever seen, the most explosive offense in the country. LSU reputably is a defensive-built program, is a defensive-minded program, comes from a defensive mindset approach when they are going into offseason, setting the standard, building the mentality. And they've just taken the number one offense in the country and knocked the wheels off of it because they couldn't stop anybody. You don't think that people in recruiting and transfer portals and coaches and handlers are going to be like, yo, what's the deal on defense? Y'all aren't running that back, are you? And I would expect that they don't. So, you're going to have to sell a plan. And that plan has to begin being sold last week. I mean, 2 months ago. I mean, you're behind. So you got to make that, the sense of urgency is the most extreme point. I don't think that they have the luxury of patience. Phone lines? 707-400-5575 is the phone number. Get in touch. Have you seen this website that LSU has developed for Jayden Daniels?
Beautiful.
It's beautiful. Shout out to Cody Worsham and the crew. Incredible work here by bringing up to speed and bringing it very accessible to viewers, curiosity, college football fans, LSU fans on just how dominant Jayden Daniels is. Let me read you some of the stats that Daniels leads the country in, and you can find this all at lsusports.net with Jayden Daniels' website that they have put together. It's great. Daniels leads the country in total yards at 49-46, total touchdowns at 50, passing touchdowns at 40, rushing yards by a quarterback at 1,134. Passer rating at 208, which is an NCAA record that he sets. He got 90 plays of 20 yards or more, which is a record. His QBR is over 95. His yards per passing attempt is over 11. In fact, it's nearly 12 yards per passing attempt at 11.7. His yards per carry, this is all players, not just quarterbacks, 8.4 yards per carry. He's nearly a first down every time he takes off. Yards per play, he does average a first down. He averages 10.7 yards per play every snap he takes. Expected points added, I don't know what that means. So I'm not going to read that stat because I can't explain it.
Expected points average is where you're at on the field.
Added.
Yeah, expected points average. So it's like expected points added is what's your expected depending on your field position. So if like you start off when you're on 5 or if you start off when you're on 20, it's basically saying we score more touchdowns than field goals and how long their drives are.
Well, in that category, 132.3. Is that good? That's good. It leads the country. He's the best. Jayden Daniels, give him the Heisman. Don't overthink it. 707-400-5575. To the phone lines we go. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Good morning.
It's Reggie from Prairieville.
What's up, Reggie? What's on your mind?
One of the other things I was thinking about too, man, when Brian Kelly came in, he pretty much cleaned out the whole coaching staff at LSU.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really hurt us, even in recruiting, getting rid of people like Corey Raymond, Blake Baker, who was very important to this defense.
Yep.
And bringing in those guys from South Bend, I think that really hurt LSU in a big way.
Thank you for the call. I definitely think that is a time that you really would like to have back if you're Kelly and the staff of evaluating the guys that were on campus then. I think, Kelly, when he took the job, the stench of the program was so bad publicly that it was a kind of a wide swath of a clean house, right? Which I think was probably sold to him, which was probably discussed with him, which was probably
promised to him before he got the job, like accepted the job.
Really, and almost probably said like, hey, look, nobody can really be the bad guy on campus. We're going to bring you in, let you clean house, and let you run it exactly how you want to run it. The only stipulation is you got to run nearly everybody out, right? And I think that's probably a time that Kelly would love to have back because you had some key guys on staff at the time that really could have helped you navigate some of the recruiting wars, some of the recruiting discussions. I mean, you bring up Blake Baker, and our last caller was a fantastic call. I apologize. I forgot his name, but he brought up Blake Baker. Baker was the lead recruiter on Harold Perkins. I mean, not only is Baker a guy that's on the field, is a proven commodity, he's a guy that was winning in the living room very early on. He's a very high-energy guy. He's a guy with a sales pitch that, really sticks with both parents and players. There were some guys that were on staff that were very talented that didn't necessarily, not only did they not get an interview, they barely got a conversation. And I think, that's a time that Kelly probably would like to have back because, just some of the potholes that have, been very clear in navigating the first 2 years of the SEC. Look, I mean, he's won a combined, 19 games in his first 2 years. I mean, that's pretty solid to say out loud. I mean, with still a game on deck. So, it's been a nice build here early on, but there have been some things where you look back where you probably say, hey, I could have helped myself out there. And I think what our caller brought up is a great observation of, that, there was probably some guys on staff at the time that really could have helped you, navigate through some early days of recruit. How more easy of the conversations would it have been for the defensive backfield if Corey Raymond was leading those charges? That would have been, much easier of conversations to have with DBs. He's just proven. He's a guy that can walk into a living room and say, hey, you want to know what Tyrann Mathieu thinks about playing for LSU? Here, let's get him on the phone. What do you think about Patrick Peterson playing for the Steelers now? Here, talk to him. What about his time at LSU? I mean, Raymond he's their guy. And that's a lot what LSU sells. The reputation of the school and then getting, to campus and being able to develop whoever's the next guy up into that player, right? So that coach has won in the living room, and now that coach is winning on the practice field. LSU's losing both of those battles right now.
Right, and a lot of people are pointing towards Florida's defensive backs on the field, and that's not really the calling card of why you bring in Corey Raymond. Sure, development, but as far as how the defense is actually played, you're bringing in Corey Raymond to help with one area that is extremely deficient at LSU right now, and that's one thing he does in spades, and that's recruiting. Like at least you're getting a positive. Now, whether you want to look at what he does on field defensively, that's not really why you're bringing him in. He's a good coach, but you're bringing him in to recruit, to be able to have 5-star athletes at corner, so you don't have to scheme everybody up defensively. You can say, hey, go play press man, because you're good enough to do that.
Right.
I mean, did you worry about scheme when Patrick Peterson, Tre'Davious White, Mo Claiborne, Ron Brooks? Like, did you worry about scheme then?
Yeah.
I think LSU plays better when they play press man.
Yeah, frees everybody up.
Yeah, absolutely.
They play way better.
Well, I mean, that's who they are.
Yeah.
That's what you've recruited.
Even like Toviano, like he wants to be in somebody's face the whole game. He doesn't want to be 15 yards off the ball trying to play a RPO. Like, that's
15 different responsibilities, and bro, y'all just running cover 3. You ain't even fooling anybody.
Right.
You got to call.
Back to the phone lines we go. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hunter Hall in Huntsville.
Yes,
Boy,
sir.
it's a good thing we're not reading text messages on this show anymore. Happy 10-year anniversary, little brother. Boy, Twitter was made for the content that I've been consuming over the last 36 hours. I hate going down there to Auburn. Weird stuff always happens. And man, I tell you, it feels good to be on the right side of it for once. And I know we got a whole lot to clean up, but not to sound too much like an LSU fan here, but some of that adversity is officials, am I right?
Say it one more time. You broke up.
Not to sound too much like an LSU fan here, but some of that adversity was brought on by the officials. Am I right?
A lot of things go crazy in Jordan-Air.
That's right. Y'all, you got your calls. You
used them all up against LSU.
Yeah. Not sure if we win on Saturday, but if we do, ain't no doubt about it, Alabama's in the playoff, right?
Yes. I think that you can feel it. You can feel that they're already starting to make the excuses. They're already starting to make the way. The contingency has always had a crush on Bama. The room has always had a crush on Bama. They want them in the room. They know they bring ratings. Yes, without question, if you win on Saturday, you're in.
I mean, hey, Georgia hasn't lost a game in, 3 years, and the SEC's ran the sport for the last 20, so you can't leave a one-loss SEC champion out. I mean, the sad thing is they would leave Georgia out too, possibly, and there just ain't 3 better teams in the country better than Georgia, or Alabama for that fact. But hey. Happy birthday, Stewie, you bum.
Thank you, Hunter.
Stewie,
Isaiah
birthday?
Bond pushed off.
My birthday was yesterday.
Happy birthday, Steve.
Isaiah Bond pushed off.
He did push off.
He did.
And,
imagine throwing a flag in that
Little
situation.
shove space.
Oh, God. That man could not even live in Alabama.
Say he killed it. See, you say when he killed that guy.
Yeah, got him whacked.
All right, good stuff today. We appreciate the interaction. Thank you all for listening and getting involved here. The Tiger Droppings thread is up to 5 pages now.
Hell yeah. Anything else you got? Anything inflammatory?
Return of Zeus said his sources, and as I'm sure y'all are aware by now, JC doesn't have any sources. Is what Return of Zeus says. That's not true. JC did have an inside source with Coach O, Panamsky. He has no sources with BK. In fact, because he is no longer with 104.5, he has been frozen out by the administration and has no better sources other than members of the media. Wow. That was an old take. I was frozen out by Aliva and their administration after the 104.5 hit because of how close they were with Flynn Foster and the crew. But now, not so much. We've had Woody on this show. I believe 3 times he's made his way into studio with us. We were longtime friends with with Woody and his family. We have Chris Blair in here every Thursday, which was previously shut down by the administration.
I feel like Kim Mulkey's been on.
Yeah,
They have
Kim Mulkey
announced
has
that she
been
was going
on.
to come to LSU.
That's right. We've had our sit down with BK, so no, we're good now.
Jay Johnson's been
from
on
the
a good
administration standpoint. That is not true, LSU Don MCO.
I'm about to change your name.
He said several folks with connections to the team told him that. Those same connections told him that Denver Harris was going to be ready for Alabama. Again, Denver Harris was ready for Alabama. He just was a player's decision not to play.
Coach's decision.
Coach's decision.
Or who knows?
Coach's decision not to play. Denver Harris is still on the team. He is still a part of LSU's program. It
was just like it was like studying abroad. You know, you got to go get your feet wet, see what it's like, ingratiate yourself in the community. Then you will come back. It's a buffer year.
But Tiger Droppings, I cannot thank you enough for the 5-page thread pre-9 a.m. here on this Monday. We thank you very much. We'll be checking back in throughout the day, so keep talking your noise.
A lot of time on these people's
That's
hands,
right.
huh?
Yeah. Everybody's
a lot
back
of
to
you,
work.
For claiming that I don't know, sure as hell don't know shit for what you type in here. So it runs two ways on this avenue. We appreciate everybody again on this Monday. Like, share, follow, subscribe. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Have a great day.
Have a great day.
Hey, Chino, put my headphones up, bro. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time. It's the hottest show around, we ain't gotta flex. Call up G, we get it done, we earning our respect. Tell recruits to let us in, where they going next? Throw up the L's, now we lit, band playing neck. From the boot to the east to the west coast. No matter where we at, we live, mic'd up for show. Open up the phone lines, come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends about Jordy Culotta Show. Yeah, Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show.